but they made a big fuss. So she said, all right, well, I noticed and others noticed that her mother didn't look happy being there. She did come, but she did look a bit fed up and cross. And someone told me that actually what the problem is that she didn't want her mother to speak because she's told so many lies. Her mother won't agree with them and she will correct her, so she couldn't risk it. But nonetheless, the producers also said they would like her mother to show her how to cook something, and she apparently screamed and shouted and would not have it. The people who are running this thing she's doing said to her that they would like her mother to be there too, and she said, no, absolutely not. They said, well, can she do something with you? Cook something, you can do something together. Absolutely not. She was absolutely furious.
This woman is a born manipulator. The Netflix thing, she doesn't do the work. She don't make the jams. It's all made for her. She talks like she's a one-woman band. That is not hard work. Hard work is get up in the morning, get to 7 o'clock, get into a factory or a shop and working for 10 hours on your feet, coming home knackered. That's not what happens to her.
And still being a mom.
That is
still
not
being
what
a
happens to
mom.
her.
I want my home to feel welcoming. Do you feel welcome? Does my soundstage welcome you? Mindy and I are such great friends, like besties. Like, I love her. Like, she doesn't know my name, but we're best friends.
There's a real delight in being able to be a present parent. And it's a luxury sometimes because we all have to work. We all have a lot of stuff to do. But when you can take a minute to just...
Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Hello all. Sorry we're late. Our flight was delayed.
It was mint, though. Tell them we were in mint.
They gave you a mint. How lovely. I have some gum in my purse if you'd like.
Oh, we were in mint. It's like their business class. It's really nice. And
Meghan, I'm begging you to stop now.
This also follows all the stories about her bullying staff over here in the UK, which is unresolved. NDAs stopped all that stuff coming out, but she bullied people in a very unpleasant way over here.
Harry and Meghan are the problem. And while we're going to go over all the people that they've hired, just as a great reminder, the couple have hired plenty of professionals before. People at high levels who have worked for Bill Gates, Patagonia, all these sorts of things. And yet none of them have been successful. The common denominator in everything here is Harry and Meghan.
We'll see King Charles do this because I don't think that he likes the fact that he's been accused of racism towards his grandchildren.
Wanting to exploit their royal titles, I think it stinks. And I think what King Charles should do, he should just strip them of the titles.
The only thing HRH stands for in association with Meghan Markle is her ruthless homewreckerness.
Zoom in here and it says, with the compliments of Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Sussex. That is a title that was stripped from her when she and Harry made their whole racism debacle and left the UK, left their royal duties, and moved to the US to bug all of us.
It's so funny, too, that you keep saying Meghan Markle. You know I'm Sussex now.
Hey, lowly cameraman, come over here and try some fried chicken. Try the fried chicken. Try the fried chicken. We need to make it look like I actually care about my camera crew. Come get some fried chicken. Act like you're having fun. Act like you're having fun.
So much fun.
Well, you and I are so similar. You and I...
With your guests, when was the last time you were surprised and delighted?
Last night, and also this morning, but last night when I went back to my hotel, and then you put your thumbprint in, which is what makes it a fun group activity, and you could fill it with jam, you could do chocolate, anything you like, of course.
What matters is what we have on the inside.
Oh my gosh, I worked so hard.
This is a jaw-dropper. Doria Ragland, the quiet force behind Meghan Markle, the woman who has kept her dignity through years of scandal, smear campaigns, and ruthless tabloid exploitation, is finally speaking out. And what triggered it? Not a book, not an interview, not a press leak. No, what allegedly broke Doria's silence was a simple home shot video. A video that should have been harmless. A video that was supposed to be empowering. Instead, it blew up in Meghan's face and allegedly humiliated the entire family. We're talking about a meltdown moment caught on camera, one so tone-deaf, so poorly received that even Meghan's staunchest supporters are now questioning everything. You think the Oprah interview was explosive, that Netflix series controversial. This is different. This is not a calculated media move. This is Meghan, raw and unfiltered, or at least trying to be, and it backfired spectacularly. But here's the thing, Doria has survived it all without ever lowering herself to the circus. And now, allegedly, this video pushed her to finally say, something, anything. And what she said, it wasn't loud, it wasn't dramatic, but it landed like an earthquake. Because when Doria Ragland speaks, the world listens.
This series, and they'll believe it. They'll believe the smears about Britain and our monarchy, that we're a bunch of bigoted and hateful people. They even blamed Brexit for the racism, which apparently was aimed at Meghan Markle, which is just completely absurd. But by far the most sickening part of this show for me was the constant use of Harry's.
This isn't just about Meghan. This is about a mother trying to navigate the fallout of her daughter's spiraling public image. It's about pride. It's about boundaries. And it's about how much humiliation one woman is willing to quietly endure until she simply can't anymore. And that silence from Doria, that silence just shattered. So what exactly happened in this so-called disaster video that sent shockwaves through the Markle-Ragland circle? According to swirling reports from social media sleuths, anonymous insiders, and even former palace aides, Meghan Markle released a video that was supposed to show a day in the life at home. Casual, intimate, real, but instead of coming off as relatable, it came off as calculated. Critics say she tried to look effortless, but everything felt too polished, too scripted, and worst of all, it allegedly painted her in the very light she's tried so hard to avoid: narcissistic, disconnected, and painfully self-centered.
It's about an hour-long cab ride, never seen as grandchildren. This show is packed with the kind of spurious claims and hypocrisy that have become the Sussex signature. We learned they began making videos about their heroic journey 6 months before their Netflix deal was even announced, and right at the start of a pandemic that was killing.
Multiple clips allegedly showed Meghan interrupting Harry mid-sentence. She brushed off his jokes, took over the conversation. At one point, viewers claimed she gave him a look that screamed, "Stay in your lane." People didn't see a healthy partnership. They saw control, they saw performance, and they didn't like it. The internet exploded, and the cringe royals started trending. Popular YouTubers roasted the footage. TikTokers posted side-by-side comparisons with her old speeches. And let's just say, the vibe was not consistent. Fans were confused, critics were vindicated, and the family, according to one alleged insider, it was like watching a brand implode in real time. Meghan forgot this wasn't about her anymore.
About it. If you excuse the massive book deals, the Silicon Valley startups, the preaching videos about well-being, the podcasts, the speeches, and the major network interviews with everyone from Oprah Winfrey to James Corden. But they've barely been seen or heard at all, have they? Well, on Thursday, they'll quietly and apologetically release their $100 million.
But for Doria, this wasn't just a PR fail. This was her daughter looking foolish on a global stage. It wasn't just a disappointment. It was a humiliation, one that she had no hand in creating, but now has to carry anyway. And that's where it really gets messy. Doria Ragland has always been the elegant shadow behind Meghan Markle, present but never loud, loyal but never performative. She was there at the royal wedding, poised, graceful, the picture of quiet strength. She sat alone at that royal chapel and never said a word to the cameras. She was stalked by paparazzi, targeted by tabloids, and offered money to speak out, and still she stayed silent even when her own extended family embarrassed her on live television, selling interviews, revealing private details, and dragging her daughter's name through the mud. Doria didn't flinch. She didn't clap back. She didn't sell a book. She held her head high and said nothing. But this time, this was different. Sources close to the family allege that Doria, in a moment of quiet frustration, finally said, "This is my child. I've nothing to say." Just 8 words. But the subtext, deafening. That wasn't just a statement. That was a message. A mother saying, "I see what's happening, and I'm choosing silence, not out of loyalty, but out of pain." It wasn't a defense. It wasn't an endorsement. It was a line in the sand. Some interpreted it as love, others as quiet condemnation. Because what Doria didn't say, that speaks volumes. No praise, no pride, no denial of the disaster. Just a mother acknowledging the storm, then stepping out of the frame. This isn't just about preserving Meghan's image anymore. This is about preserving Doria's dignity. Let's not downplay this. Doria Ragland is probably humiliated, and not because of something she did, but because of something she tried her whole life to avoid: being dragged into a public circus. She built her reputation on restraint, on humility, on staying grounded even when the world spun out of control around her daughter. She's a social worker, a yoga instructor, a woman who found peace in simplicity, in honesty, in human connection. She didn't sign up to become an accidental celebrity. She didn't ask to be analyzed, dissected, or dragged into her daughter's every PR fumble. And now she's the collateral damage in Meghan's alleged video meltdown. Think about the position she's in. Her daughter releases a video that becomes internet fodder, millions of views, thousands of comments, a global storm of criticism. And Doria, she's left to absorb it all in silence, once again painted as the wise mother figure while her daughter spirals. Only this time, that silence hurts, because there's no defending this, no brushing it off as media bias. This was self-inflicted. Meghan allegedly embarrassed herself, and in doing so, she embarrassed the one person who has stood by her, quietly and loyally through everything. Doria knows how the public sees her, as the last respectable name in the Markle orbit, as the one who never sold out. But if that image starts to crumble because of Meghan's missteps, that's not just painful. That's devastating, and worst of all, there's nothing she can do to stop it. This rare moment of commentary from Doria wasn't some offhand remark. It wasn't casual. It wasn't spontaneous. It was loaded, intentional, and it echoes everything we've come to understand about her character. She's the type of woman who's been tested before and never folded. She's been offered money, baited by the press, hounded in her private life. And every single time, she chose dignity. Remember the Netflix docuseries Harry and Meghan? Doria told us flat out. Reporters tried to bribe her. They offered cash, TV deals, even book collaborations if she dished dirt on her daughter. And what did she say? No, not once, not ever. But now, after this alleged video embarrassment, they're trying again. The floodgates are wide open. Tabloids want a statement. YouTube gossipers are speculating on her every facial expression. Twitter threads are analyzing her silence like it's a code waiting to be cracked. The offers are back, only this time the scandal didn't come from the press. It came from Meghan herself. And here's where it gets painful. Doria's now caught in an impossible crossfire. If she speaks up for Meghan, she risks being dragged into the circus and having her words twisted into headlines. But if she stays silent, people say she's ashamed, that she's distancing herself, that she's done. So what does she do? She gives us a sentence, a single heavy line. This is my child. I've nothing to say. That's not surrender. That's restraint under fire. That's the sound of a mother refusing to let the world weaponize her pain. But let's not kid ourselves. That choice, that restraint, it costs her emotionally, publicly, and I think privately it's tearing her apart. It didn't take long. The minute Meghan's video started trending for all the wrong reasons, the media frenzy went from 0 to 60. You could almost hear the engines revving. Every tabloid, every gossip channel, every podcast, they all smelled the same thing, vulnerability, and they swarmed. But here's the twist. They didn't go after Meghan. Not first. They went after Doria, because she's the last one with credibility. The last name in the Markle saga that hasn't been dragged through scandal. She hasn't done interviews. She hasn't cashed in. She hasn't posted rants online or released a documentary of her own. She's untouched, untainted, which makes her dangerous and valuable. So the vultures circle. Tabloids reportedly contacted her old co-workers, her neighbors, even people at her yoga studio, anyone who might whisper something, anything. They're looking for cracks. They want quotes confirming what they already suspect, that Doria's disappointed, that she's had enough, that she's quietly walking away, and the pressure is mounting. Influencers are uploading body language breakdowns of her rare public appearances. Anonymous sources are popping up claiming to speak for her. Every silence becomes a headline. Every gesture becomes a clue. And here's the ugly truth. The media is desperate. Meghan's brand may be flailing, but Doria's image? It's pristine, which means they want it tainted. They want her to break. They want a soundbite they can weaponize for clicks. Because in their eyes, Doria isn't just a mother anymore. She's the final frontier. Let's zoom out, because this isn't just about one bad video. This is about a bigger unraveling. Meghan and Harry promised something revolutionary when they left the royal family. A new way, a new kind of fame. They were going to speak their truth, lift the veil, and show the world what authenticity looked like. But if this is authenticity, awkward videos, cringe moments, and media chaos, then the whole brand is burning. Doria sees it. She's watched the evolution from the sidelines. From the explosive Oprah interview to the Netflix confessions, from multi-million-dollar deals with Spotify and Netflix to sudden cancellations and silent failures. The content is drying up, the positive press is gone, and every time Meghan tries to reboot, something goes wrong. Now even her personal footage, video meant to connect, has allegedly turned into the latest PR nightmare. And here's what's terrifying. This isn't just a one-time stumble. It's a pattern, a growing, spiraling credibility crisis. Every misstep chips away at their public image, and Doria, by extension, gets pulled into that erosion because let's be honest, people don't separate them anymore. Meghan stumbles, and it reflects on her mother. Meghan gets criticized, and Doria's silence becomes suspect. And that's a dangerous place to be, especially for someone who never asked for this spotlight in the first place. The stakes? They're sky high, not just for Meghan's reputation, but for the quiet, stable world Doria built for herself before all of this began. So now the world waits. Meghan has gone quiet. Again, no statement, no apology, no explanation. Harry, as usual, has disappeared into the background. Maybe by choice, maybe out of embarrassment, but either way, the silence is deafening. And Doria? She's standing at the edge of it all, not speaking, not explaining, just existing, gracefully, painfully, while the world pulls at the threads of her name, trying to unravel her too. But let's be real. That silence? It's not armor anymore. It's pressure. It's weight. Every time Meghan slips, Doria has to bear the emotional backlash in private. Smile in public like everything's fine. Pretend the ridicule isn't personal, but it is. It's very personal. The shield she built, made of dignity, discipline, and deliberate distance, is cracking. And you can see it in the tone of her voice, in the hesitation of her words, in the statement, "This is my child. I've nothing to say." That's not detachment. That's heartbreak. And if this trend continues, if the scandals keep coming, if the brand keeps slipping, how long can Doria hold that line? How long until the pressure finally gets to her? This moment wasn't just another family embarrassment. It was a turning point. It showed us who's still trying to carry the weight of respect and who might be ready to drop it all and walk away for good. So where does that leave Doria Ragland? A mother holding the weight of a collapsing image, a woman who didn't ask for fame but now wears its fallout like armor, and a daughter, Meghan, whose alleged disaster video has, once again, turned private pain into public humiliation. Doria's silence broke, and what she said wasn't loud, but it was loud enough. Enough to remind the world there's still someone in this story with dignity, with restraint, with standards. But how long can she keep holding the line? Because if another disaster hits, we might not get another quiet, "I have nothing to say." We might get the moment that breaks her completely, and that would change everything.